Hi folks, we're here at InWin at CES 2020. Now, InWin obviously are known for doing some rather crazy signature cases, and we've got their brand new one over here. So, John, why don't you explain a little bit what this one is? Because it's like nothing I've ever seen before.
It's nothing like I've ever seen before either, to be honest. But, so this is our new 10th signature chassis, the InWin Diey. And Diey is actually Mandarin for butterfly. So going back to our previous generation signature chassis, the Young is chrysalis. So this is sort of an evolved form of a chassis, and it's truly evolved. Why is it evolved? Well, it is very, very interactive. First off, it can respond to hand gestures, to voice command, and also has some facial detection as well. Also has a projector on the bottom, so on the bottom of the chassis there is a stand, and it's purposely white so that it can see projected images, videos, whatever it is you like. So this is not a typical chassis. I would consider it more of an entertainment chassis. So you can actually program this to make it more interactive, more fun with music. The RGB that you see behind me, that's has 80 scales, and each individual scales has RGB. You can sync it to music to make it a little more fun and interactive. Basically, like I said, more of an entertainment chassis, I'll say.
So you probably see this more in like arcades and shops, experiences and stuff like that, to try and go get users to go interact with the PC itself, rather than maybe home users who want something a bit special, like the Z Tower or the Young, maybe, for instance.
Well, I would more say it targeted towards businesses.
Yeah.
I suppose if you want it at home, why not?
Yeah, if you had the space, I suppose. This thing is absolutely massive.
It is, it really is.
So to access all of this thing, these lift up, don't they? They're on like servos or something, aren't they?
They do, yes. So you can actually do that manually, or you can have fun with it and basically, like I said, make it interactive. The wings will spread on its own, or the little scales will lift as well to make it a more fun, interactive experience.
Of course, I have to ask, how much do you think this one's going to be costing then?
So we don't know exactly just yet. We're saying a rough guesstimate will be, with the stand and everything, $14,500 US dollars.
Yeah, so definitely more of the display type unit then, isn't it, really?
It is.
But this isn't the only thing you've got on display. We've got some more traditional chassis, so why don't we go take a look at those now and then see what's what. Now, right on the other end of the scale, we've got a tiny ITX case here, and this is going to be for sort of low power systems and sort of media usage, isn't it, really?
Precisely. So this is our InWin B1, and just a little bit smaller than Diey, right?
Just a bit.
Just a tiny bit. Now, this, like you mentioned, is perfect for home theater PCs, maybe a Steam box, even can do some light gaming. So the B1 will actually come with a 200 watt 80 plus volt power supply. So light gaming is possible. So if you wanted it to be a LAN rig or something like a transportation rig, perfect for it. So one of my favorite features on this thing is how the ventilation is streamlined into the design. And so pretty much cooling comes at a premium because of that. And because of how the depth is, it can actually accommodate some of the taller stock CPU coolers as well. So this is a nice nifty little LAN box, I personally will say. Can also display it vertically or horizontally, so it comes with a stand if you so choose, or it comes with metallic feet that gives it a nice little zen look, in my opinion.
And then to build into it, you simply pop the top off, don't you? And then you've got basically the entire thing. Can you show us that, maybe?
So let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, so you've got everything just immediately visible, and then you've got the power supply, which is on this side over here, and then you've got room for one 80mm cooling fan, right?
That's correct, and that will also come with the chassis as well.
Okay.
So you're welcome to get an aftermarket, but to be honest, the fan's a pretty good fan, so it comes with the chassis itself.
And for cooler clearance, how much space have we got between the roof of the chassis and the motherboard, for instance, on this one?
So at the moment, I believe it is 58, but that could change. We're still seeing, but more or less that'll be kind of what we're going with.
Yeah, and then for the front I/O, you've simply got some headphone output and a USB 3 Type A, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not sure exactly the date it'll come out, but it'll be sometime in Q1, so possibly next month, but relatively soon. at a cost of 85 US dollars.
Ah, okay, so this is much lower price and obviously kind of commensurate with the kind of hardware you're going to be putting in it as well, which is quite good.
Yeah, exactly. So designed like to be a nice, affordable, light gaming rig, I would say.
And of course, you've also got the new 200 series. So why don't we take a look at those now?
Let's go.
Right. So with the 200 series chassis, which demographic are you going to be sort of going for with these particular ones? Because these are all mid towers, aren't they?
Correct. And as you can see, there are 3 of them, so they all have like a certain purpose. So let's start with the left and going all the way to the right, or right going to left for viewers. I'm not sure. I don't know how that works. But 215 is 215 and 216 technically has the same internal structure. The major differences are the front panel as well as the top panels, different forms of cooling and different looks to accommodate people that have certain style preferences. So for the 215 and 216, aim more towards either the more low profile and conservative person that doesn't necessarily need so much RGB, so much flashiness, just something that cools really well and something that can accommodate a lot of hardware. 216, more of a sleeker, edgier look, I'll say. Just something to make it look nice and fancy, and if you like RGB, why not? RGB makes everything faster, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just throw in a few more lights. And then is this one going to be then for the higher airflow version, or is it for because obviously you've got a fair bit of hardware in there at the moment.
So you pointed this one out, and for my personal opinion, the C200, that's the C200. That one, in my opinion, is like the crown jewel of the 200 series. One of the reasons being is because it's targeted more for content creators, as it's kind of like a storage chassis of sorts. You can house it with all kinds of SSDs and HDDs. The top front panel area could be used for ODDs if you still use them. Me personally, I'm old school, so I kind of like that feature. So you can use 2 ODDs, or you can put up to 3 disk drives in there, no problem. There's plenty of space for multiple GPUs in there, so this is really targeted towards content creators, graphic designers, so on and so forth.
And if you're going to be focusing a lot on storage then, I'm assuming all these are modular. Can you move them around the chassis to different points, for instance? If you've got lots of cooling that you maybe want to have in, would you be able to move the drive base to a different part of the PC?
Well, for that, it's pretty much designed to stay at that particular position, basically because it's designed for optimal cable routing and basically designed to have it a nice, cleaner look.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you've also got, speaking of cooling, a whole load of new coolers that you want to show us. So why don't we have a look at those now?
Let's go.
Obviously, this is quite a fun demo you got going on here, but what are you trying to show with this particular one?
Well, since people are a fan of our fans, why not?
As you do.
But yes, so on this little fan wheel that we have here, it's showcasing our Jupiter case fans. That's our new fans that are coming out also in Q1. It's going to be basically a more affordable, nice ARGB, high air pressure case fan. So since this is air powered, I can just go ahead and stop it and it'll go on its own. But just to get you a nice closer personal look, this will retail for about $29 for 3 particular case fans.
And are these the same fans that are going to be used on the new coolers as well then, or is those separate ones?
That's a good question, and no, actually, those are more of a higher air pressure fans, so you can actually ramp up the RPMs to 2,500. So if you wanted to, kind of push the limits a little bit, there won't be any issues. So InWin decided to step into the AIO market, and this is our SR24 and SR36, obviously referring to the 240 millimeter case radiators and 360 millimeter radiators as well. So the tower, you'll notice, is the CPU cooling tower is particularly tall, and there's a reason for that. And the particular purpose of that is because it houses 2 pumps. So the idea of that is that it'll cool a little bit more parallel for a little more efficiency and quicker cooling to the overall CPU.
And is that going to be adding a bit more redundancy as well, or are they going to have to depend on one another, just in case one maybe goes the way of the Dodo, and you're left with one which is just pumping extra hard? Is that going to be different, maybe? Or
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. That is absolutely true. So let's say if for some reason one of the pumps fail, or there's like a spike in temperature or anything, your system won't actually suffer because one of the pumps will still be functioning. Also, to kind of give you a hint of where the RMA process is, or maybe even just a little movement that's needed, the white LED will actually flash a blue or red to kind of give the users a warning that something's a little bit wrong.
And just to clear up, what sort of radiators are you using on these? Are these going to be copper cooled ones, or are they going to be aluminium based, do you know?
They are copper cooled.
Ah, very good. All right, so we should have no corrosion problems down the line, that's the idea, right?
Yeah, exactly. No corrosion issues there.
All right, brilliant. Well, thank you very much. It's been great looking through all the products, and enjoy the rest of CES.
Likewise.